Yeah, we are back with another daily reflection on the Daily Vedantic. So happy you're here with us. It's fun to see this channel grow. When I started podcasting with my startup investor business-focused podcast 4 years ago, I think it was a pretty big left turn about 2 months ago now, 3 months ago, when I switched everything over to ancient philosophy, the most ancient philosophy out there with Vedanta. But I'm loving this every day, and it's so cool to see, especially on Instagram, just the community grow and grow each day. But finding that one person that is really cultivating this wisdom within myself, that is the work. Talking about it is a good way to reflect on it. Speaking each day in these daily podcast episodes and one person benefiting from it, that is it. That's all that I feel the need to accomplish with this, because there just wasn't this accessible of an approach to this philosophy online on YouTube when I was looking into it the first few years. I want to be extremely explicit that this is just meant to be an on-ramp to much better teachers, much better, much wiser scholars of this philosophy. Much more important than scholarship is people that are living this philosophy to the nth degree, living it to the realized state, like Swami Parthasarathi, our teacher that we reference quite often on this channel. This is meant to just be an on-ramp, a fun, entertaining on-ramp to that. But it has been fun to see this community grow around the Daily Vedantic to where it's kind of blows me away. I feel like we are way ahead of any, we never really set any goals for it, but way ahead of any expectations I had for it. So that is fun to see, because I know that when people are pursuing this type of wisdom, they'll read something from Thoreau or Schopenhauer or Carl Jung or Alan Watts or Joseph Campbell or Emerson, and they'll maybe get these glimmers of wisdom that they were studying each day. All of those that I just mentioned, by the way, study Vedanta daily, and this is just a dedicated channel to that, where people can come find, hopefully over time, community of others that are studying this timeless wisdom each day. So it's fun to see that grow. And I also wanted to say that you can hit us up with DMs on Instagram for any questions that you have, comments on these YouTube videos, comments on the Instagram posts, comments on our TikTok. I don't check it as much, but I do check it. So you can comment across all the major social platforms, and YouTube is the real home for these episodes. So comment away, ask questions. Questions are absolutely sacred. And I'm sure it's fun for others to see someone ask a question that they probably had themselves. And I say, I will answer as many as I can. And for those that I don't have the answer for, I will make sure that we find an appropriate authority. One of my teachers, one of the brilliant lighthouses out there that may have answered your question. I'll try to research and find that and reply to your comment or to your DM. So please feel free to use those channels. And this channel is in no way mine. It is, if you're listening to this right now, it's more yours than it is mine. This is for you. The Gita talks about the errant view of anything in our lives, the errant view we can have where something is mine. And how wrong that is. This isn't even philosophy. It is just logic. The idea that it's your car, your house, your children. And this reflection today is on this misguided notion we have around possessiveness. We can have possessions. One of the great titans of this philosophy, King Janaka, was a king with untold possessions, but he was not possessive over them. It's like something being in your foster care that is not yours. A car is a good example. You might only own it for 6-7 years. You are a temporary steward of that car, a temporary caretaker of that child, a temporary resident of that house. But you didn't create the wood to build that house. You likely didn't build the house yourself. You didn't create the money or the wealth that you used to buy the house. Whatever wealth or financial milestone you hit to be able to buy that house is a result of tens, hundreds, maybe thousands of people collaborating together. That home, just that table you might work from, that is the contribution of many, many hands. And like nearly anything we own, we are just temporary renters, temporary stewards of that thing we think is ours. We have a really hard time with this in the West, and that's because we grow up in this mindset where you hang a sign of, this is my room. That bedroom is as much that 10-year-old's as that car, that house, that spouse, that child is to any of us. You can hang a metaphorical sign around it. You can say that's my wife, my husband, that's my daughter. And you might use that language because that's just the colloquial way that we talk about it. But the thing that this philosophy cautions us against is any false notion that they are actually yours. That mindness is the quickest way to lose it. Possessiveness over your young daughter, your teenage son, that's my son. You're mine. We are told over and over again that attachment is the quickest way to lose that relationship. Instead of, I am a temporary steward, caretaker of this child, that they're going to lean on for a few short years, but the goal is not only to get them to be self-sufficient, to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and not continually lean on us over and over again. That's not only the goal, but that is the inevitability, whether they can stand on their own 2 feet or not. We all have an expiration date. We can either operate as if we don't have one, or we can recognize we better take care of this child with the approach that they better be able to take care of themselves because I won't be here forever. I'm going to take care of this car because I already identify with the moment that I'm going to have to sell this car to someone else, and I want them to be able to appreciate it. I wanted to get them to and from work, take their kids to school. When we zoom out, it isn't just philosophy, it's just rational, logical thinking. That everything we call ours is not ours. And the more that we attach, the more that we pressurize a possessiveness. Possessions are fine, absolutely fine. It is the possessiveness, the mindness, that destroys the purity of the relationship with that thing or that person. Attach, you lose. Detach, you gain. Build a self-sufficient, strong child. You're going to end up with an amazing, strong relationship where you can lean on each other, perhaps. Where you can be on your deathbed knowing that they are going to be not just fine, but phenomenal community members because of the way that you raised them, temporarily stewarded, guided their lives, as opposed to Rapunzel in the tower. And there's another reason to not get so attached to our possessions that we trip ourselves into thinking we own them, that they're ours. A mindness around them. And that is because those things end up owning us. It's like the man with the donkey who thinks this is my donkey, holding the rope to keep the donkey close. Walking through the village with a sense of ownership over this donkey. And understanding that he better hold it close because it could get stolen, could wander off. Day after day of holding this rope to keep this possession close. The man realizes, I can't really go into a restaurant with this donkey. I can't really go into the different general stores with this donkey. I can't really go into my friend's home with this donkey. Because that holding of the rope, that possessiveness, means the donkey owns the owner as much as the owner thinks he owns the donkey. Who is owning who? Mindness in a life full of all of these things and these people that we think are mine not only destroys the purity of that relationship, it limits their development. It also contributes to a sense of aversion when you think that someone is yours. And fourth, last but not least, it limits our own freedom. You can have possessions, but cultivating a healthy sense of detachment from them. Okay, someone breaks into the house, okay. Someone steals the car gets hit, driving and living in a city, well, that's cost of doing business. That's going to happen. You're free from worrying about every little inch of that vehicle and each person that gets a tiny bit too close to it. You're free of that worry. Most importantly, when it comes to relationships, you're not limiting that person's development. You're not limiting their own freedom. That is the root of resentment. And nice side benefit is you're not limiting your own. Attach, you lose. Detach, you gain. It is one of my favorite concepts within Vedanta. And a good litmus test to whether we're attached to something is if we use these words like my and mine and mean them, feel like they're ours. Tells us, take a step back, get some elbow room. Assess, is this a healthy thing for the other person or for myself? That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. Thanks for listening to the Daily Vedantic. This reflection is part of a free repeating 2-year course in Advaita Vedanta. Rooted in the timeless wisdom of the Upanishads, arguably the oldest philosophical texts on earth, you can begin with episode 1, which gives the 15-minute overview of the whole philosophy of Vedanta, or you can join the journey with any episode at any point. But the critical aspect of this course, of understanding and mastering anything, is to study and reflect, even for 10 to 15 minutes on the timeless each day, preferably at the start of your day. As is said in this philosophy, reflection is 100,000 times as powerful as listening. So listen, journal, sit with, discuss these concepts, or ask questions at thedailyvedantic.com with our AI-powered chatbot informed by about 700 episodes here, as regularly as one can if you want to see clarity and peace almost effortlessly unfold in your daily life. And if it doesn't result in a near immediate increase in clarity and peace, then toss aside and feel free to never listen again. One of the things that you might notice is after 7 or 8 days in a row, this doesn't feel like a discipline. This feels like a visit with a best friend to dive into the timeless with daily reflection. Within a few days, it becomes one of your favorite parts of the day. You can also find out more, including news about in-person events in Los Angeles and beyond, at The Daily Vedantic on Instagram or through our weekly newsletter at thedailyvedantic.com. Additionally, check out the links in our show notes for more resources like the books that are mentioned most frequently in the episodes, including Vedanta Treatise, perhaps the simplest and most straightforward read on this philosophy I've ever come across. Until next time, and from the entire team that works on the Daily Vedantic project, thanks for listening.